As you would have heard on the news, that little 8-year-old boy, Lachlan Collins of Kialla, near Shepparton, he went missing yesterday while swimming with his older brother and sister, and his 10-year-old sister and his 12-year-old brother. He disappeared. He was about 60 metres away from them when they lost sight of him. Police divers searched the area yesterday. Then today they went back in about 8:30 this morning. Water had risen about 40 centimetres since last night, and very bad visibility. They're saying for the divers it was virtually zero. And then tragically they found the little boy at 11:30 this morning. On the line now from Shepparton Police, Acting Senior Sergeant Jason Kelly. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Darren.
Well, very sad news today.
Yes, very sad news. Our worst fears have been realised, unfortunately, with the discovery of young Lachlan Collins' body in the Billabong at 11:20 this morning.
Yes, well, from the minute he went missing, the grave fears were there, weren't there? Because as I understand it, he's 8 years old, he's in a Billabong, there's floodwaters coming in, and he couldn't swim.
Yeah, that's unfortunately the scenario that we faced last night. Obviously, as I've said many times this morning, there was that faint, you want to hold on to that faint glimmer of hope, for the family's sake, but unfortunately our worst fears have been realised.
Now, am I right in saying that, because reports were confusing yesterday that he'd fallen in, that it seems that he and his, in a very sad case, that he and his brother and sister were playing around on sort of a makeshift pontoon? Yeah,
that's correct. The pontoon itself was actually a side wall of a big freezer, so it was insulated with polystyrene foam, and the three kids were playing on the pontoon, and it was attached to a bridge which goes across this Billabong. The Billabong was full of the water from the rise in Goulburn River.
Okay, and of course in that area, as that water's coming up, although it may look pretty placid there on the top, the current underneath is pretty strong.
Yeah, absolutely, and also the area in which he fell in was very very undulated and had lots of trees and fences and also car bodies as well. So obviously in the drought it's been dry, but with the rains comes the water, unfortunately.
Yes, because that area was pretty dry. I mean, it was barren until about last August, September.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, with the drought that we've had, it hasn't seen water in there for a long period of time, and it wasn't until the rains in September that we actually saw water in there.
Yeah. Look, this is a good time to talk about this. That we've seen pictures in newspapers and things like that of little kids playing in pontoons and makeshift kayaks and Lord knows what. And it gives an element of fun to all of this. Floods aren't fun. Floods are dangerous.
No, they're not fun. And, this is a tragedy not only for the Collins family, but for the community up here in Shepparton and Kialla. And also it should strike fear into the hearts of every Victorian parent that whether it be pools or whether it be floodwater, it's important that we are vigilant with our children and make sure that, number one, that they can swim, but if they can't, that they're supervised.
Yes, I remember when we were kids, if a flood, on the rare time that a flood came to town, you couldn't wait to race out and dive into it because it was a novelty, but you never thought of the dangers that were associated with it. Yes,
and look, as young kids, they don't think of those dangers, so it's up to us as parents and responsible adults to keep an eye on them. But that said, I mean, the warning is there for everyone that floodwaters are not something to play in. No.
Yeah. Final point. What time did you find little boys? I mean, so it's bad enough, tough enough for you guys finding bodies anywhere, but when you have to pull a little kid out of the water, what time was this?
Yeah, this was 11:20 this morning. So he entered the water at 11 o'clock yesterday morning. So it's been 24 hours, and I pay tribute to our fantastic police search and rescue crews who died. They dived for 5 hours last night and then continued again this morning and unfortunately came up with a discovery of his body.
And we talk about that diving, you mentioned all kinds of snags underwater there.
Yes, actually I was talking to one of the divers afterwards at the debrief, and he said that it was one of the hardest blackwater dives that he'd done because of the obstacles. So yes, it was pretty hard work for them, yes.
And when he was found, was he very far from where he'd been playing?
Yeah, he actually was 53 metres from where he'd actually entered the water. So the current had taken him to along that 53-metre stretch, and he was about 20 metres from where he was last seen. So he actually hadn't travelled that far. Yeah.
All right, Acting Senior Sergeant, thanks for your time. I know you're busy.
Yeah, thanks, Darren.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
From Shepparton Police, that's Acting Senior Sergeant Jason Kelly.